June bugs when I was a kid. They're also called fig-eating beetles, or in Latin they say Conitis mutabilis. In Mexico, mayate. They're from the Scarab family. And it was always like magic when they would appear. With their green velvety back and their shimmering green soft belly. But they were so creepy with their strong, clingy legs. But they were harmless and fun to watch because they were so clumsy and loud. No matter how many times they crashed into things, they never seemed to get hurt. I think I felt like a bug a lot when I was a kid. Like the thing you shoo out of the house or trap in a jar. Like a different species somehow. And sometimes the subject of cruel experiments. I was small, vulnerable. It didn't take much to make me cry. I was a spindly little animal that made weird sounds and funny movements. But I would imagine that June bugs were ancient Egyptian scarab beetles that came for good luck and protection. The Egyptians believed that scarabs were solar deities because they would lay their eggs inside a ball of dung and roll it across the land from east to west like the sun. When they arrived to the water, the mother beetle would die and her young would emerge. For this reason, the beetle god Khepri was responsible for reincarnation, resurrection, and creation. The sun god Ra would die every night and descend into the underworld, only to return the next morning, bringing new life. It was Khepri who helped Ra push the sun up into the sky from down below. And scarab amulets were placed on the hearts of dead people to protect them in the afterworld. The amulets had a powerful prayer written on them. This piece is a prayer. It's a spell. It's a celebration for my protection and rebirth. And for yours too. And for my son Sequoia, who just turned 18. Woo. And I can't leave out my parents. And all my brothers and sisters. My family, my whole family, extended family of my cousins and my aunts and uncles, that I may tour my work in all the cities that they live in. And for my success as a teaching artist, so that my student loans will be forgiven. And for more forgiveness all around, for that matter. And that I eat a salad every day and get more organized. And that the Democrats win the election. And for reproductive rights and immigration rights and free health care. And the ending of global warming and ending of racism and sexism and classism and homophobia and transphobia.
Yeah.
Woo! And for more trees and figs and flowers and magic. For true love. With a ring on it.
I am crawling on my back, loosening soil. Soft belly, facing up, I am already a bottom. From the beginning, I was a bottom. On my back. My spine becomes my foundation. Growing feet from my scapulae to eventually become wings. To eventually become my armor. Green velvety shell over shoulder blades crawl. Spine bends my back, pressing away from the earth, up to you. Laying in the sun, floating on the water. Escarabajo egipcio, conitis mutabilis, ayate. He told me I was receptive all of the time. This really turned me on. I kind of melted on my back between the sheets, on the floor, against the wall, tied loosely to that tree. Why did he hurt me? Why do they always end up hurting me? I'm laying in the dark again, in the attic, on the bathroom floor, laying in the cradle, falling back in the trust game, back to back, leaning back, mis antepasados en mi columno, the past behind me, la tierra abajo, my future above me. I can release myself. I can get unstuck from the perpetrator on top of me. I can dissolve and become free, become whole. I will have strong legs again. My hardened shell will form to protect my wings so I can fly. Can somebody lay on me? I need a weighted blanket. Somebody touch me and help me realize I exist. Pick up the baby when she cries. I am not you. It's best to look at the stars while lying on one's back. I gave birth on my back. I gave birth in 7 hours at home with 2 midwives. He was born on a full moon. In the middle of the night, I became a mother. Oh, my heart of my mother. Please don't let me fail. Please keep us alive.
When my son was 9 years old, he got hit by a car. I was there. Yep. It was my fault. He got out of the car on his way to soccer practice and says, "I'm gonna cross the street now, okay?" And I didn't react fast enough. I didn't say, "No, wait!" Instead, I was focusing on getting his friend out of the car safely. thing you know, I'm seeing Sequoia get hit by a silver Volvo SUV. He got thrown like 20 feet. Thank God nothing bad happened. No serious injuries, no broken bones. Just a few stitches. And the ADD he inherited from me at birth. A few years later, I got a puppy, and the same thing happened. Oh my God, I won't tell you all the details, but let's just say I wasn't paying well enough attention to her, and my puppy got run over and broke her leg. She had surgery, and she's okay. But after that, I got a therapist, a psychiatrist, I joined a support group, I read a bunch of books, I watched a bunch of videos. My ADD was dangerous. Never mind the social faux pas, the excited interruptions and overshares. Never mind the constant fidgeting and spacing out. Okay, I'm gonna play with you, so you're gonna throw it back or maybe throw it to each other. I don't know what's gonna happen. We have 3. Let's not hit the lights. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so never mind the low academic achievement. Keep going, keep going. The executive functioning disorder. Never mind the low self-esteem that comes with all the failures and rejections, and the feeling of always being behind, not learning choreography fast enough, or Espanol, I should really be fluent by now. Never mind the many failed relationships, although some of those were life-threatening. My learning disability, endangered lives.
Intimate relationships are a sensitive, delicate variation on the theme of communications and interface. They are dances choreographed with intricate steps and have great potential for disaster. Dating relationships are vulnerable to an ADDer's intensity and impaired communication skills. His enthusiasm, or sparkle, can be a strong magnet that initially attracts his love interest. But over time, his level of intensity can suffocate his lover. She's left gasping for breath and backing away to get some space. Unless he is good at finding people who can share his intensity, the ADDer must teach himself to control his impulses and slow down. In a romantic or sexual relationship, an individual risks revealing himself big time. Everyone shares this risk, which is the inherent nature of intimacy. The risk can be greater for the ADDer who has failed so many times and in so many different ways. Some ADDers do just fine with intimate relationships. You may be involved in a positive, fulfilling one right now. Or you may be taking some time to regroup after a relationship you've chosen to end. On the other hand, you may be struggling with repeated failures in your attempts to connect with the significant other. If you are, you'll need to analyze the reasons for your failures. Let's look at some ways to avoid the pitfalls and improve the quality of your relationships. Here are 6 pointers on successfully playing the dating game.
1. Play hard to get. You should never utter the words, "I love you," after just a few dates. Watch your partner's signals for clues about the progress of the relationship. Even if you immediately set your sights on your new love interest, play hard to get for a while. This keeps the desire and fear of closeness in proper balance until the other person has time to catch up with your willingness to make a commitment. This approach may sound somewhat manipulative, but it doesn't have an evil intent. Let's face it, an ADD adult has to carefully plan many aspects of his life to make them work. Why should relationships be any different? Monitor the relationship. Spontaneity is a lovely thing, but ADDers can get into trouble when freedom reigns. Keep your finger on the pulse of the relationship. If your partner seems skittish, back off and lighten up. When the intensity level is too high, be less available for a while. Don't swing too far to the other direction either. You can chase a love interest away with your apparent indifference. Relationships require continual work and maintenance. The challenge for an ADDer is to sustain attention to the relationship over the long haul. 3. Don't lose the me in we. Be sure to maintain your usual interests when you begin dating someone new. This will help you keep a reasonable distance from the relationship to prevent your total immersion in it. This will also help you maintain your own identity. 4. Watch your impulsivity. Impulsive behavior can create an assortment of problems in an ADD adult's life. In a sexual relationship, it can cause life-threatening trouble. In this day of serious sexually transmitted diseases, more than emotional well-being is at stake. It's wise to wait a while before beginning any sexual relationship. 5. Stop and think. If you're feeling restless just thinking about such an unbearably slow pace of a relationship, use your imagination and consider this. Visualize a whole lifetime of restlessness with a spouse who bores you to death. Visualize a giant vice systematically tightening down and squeezing out all your hard work at recovery and rebuilding your sense of self. You are worth too much to throw away your progress by impulsively hooking up with someone who is wrong for you. 6. Debunk the Prince Charming myth. This one is for women who grew up believing the myth. Watch for your yearnings for Prince Charming. Don't look at every date as a stepping stone to marriage. Try to enjoy your evening of dinner and dancing without visualizing yourself at the altar.
If you do in fact make it to the altar, you'll learn that marriage and child-rearing present all the challenges we've already discussed and then some. The intricacy of the dance of family relationships is
One morning, upon awakening from agitated dreams, Gregor Samsa found himself in his bed, transformed into a monstrous vermin. Perhaps the greatest consequence of Gregor's metamorphosis is the psychological distance it creates between Gregor and those around him. Gregor's change makes him literally and emotionally separate from his family members, indeed from humanity in general. He is unable to speak and consequently has no way of communicating with other people. Gregor's metamorphosis literally separates him from the human race, as it makes him no longer human. No longer
falls over the African bush, breathing new life into the dry soil. As the sun comes out, a quite spectacular drama is played out on a tiny scale. The humble dung beetle is taking advantage of the weather, needing both wet and dry to form his ball of dung. He hopes to attract a mate. However, he has only managed to attract the attentions of a rival male. The chase is on. Male dung beetles will often try to steal the dung balls of others, rather than go to the trouble of making their own. Pushing his ball through this towering forest of grass certainly isn't easy. As the sun blazes overhead, the first male has become stuck in a ditch. He has no choice but to turn and face his pursuer. However, the rival male has lost interest. Now our little hero faces the long and arduous task of literally pushing dung uphill. Perhaps a rest first would be wise.
This is embarrassing. A woman in her 40s addicted to dating apps. Oh, you're cute. Quite right. I got a match. Unlikely banter. Too pretentious and generic. Swipe left. No drama. Okay, that usually means it's a projection or you're not able to process emotions. Swipe left. Courageous, smart, handsome, funny, humble. I know, you're not humble. The world would be a better place with more fill in the blank tacos. Oh my god. How did this become so trendy? Everybody loves tacos, no? That's like just like saying, I like good food. Who here likes good food? Raise your hand. Who here likes to laugh? Raise your hand. And who here likes honesty? And who here likes to breathe air? We're soulmates. Okay, these pictures of you and your guns need to be illegal. And why would I want to see that you can kill a big, huge fish? SWB. Tempting. Should I? Okay, no, I need an LTR. I am teaching. What is that? Introverted, intuitive, thinking, judgy, also described as detached, pragmatist, analytical, and antisocial, no empathy. That sounds a little scary to me. No sociopath sleep. I'm sorry if you are one. It just wouldn't be a good match for me. I'm probably either an INFP or an ENFP. I think I'm an ISFP. I'm not sure if I'm an introvert or an extrovert. I think I'm an introvert, but I will be an extrovert if I have to. Basically, I'm trying a new approach in relationships right now. I'm doing research is that I never get hurt again. And that I do find the one till death do us part. So I'm taking it a lot slower, not diving in with the first person who gives me attention, which is very unusual for my atypical behavior. I'm following my instincts, trying not to fall into some of the same patterns like the Mary Magdalene pattern. I tend to want to heal and soothe wounded souls, and that has proven to be dangerous in the past. I mean, I know we're all wounded to some degree, but I need to save myself for someone who has a therapist already. I mean, or the equivalent thereof. The next person whose feet I wash with my hair, like Mary Magdalene, is going to have enough emotional intelligence to respond to my needs as well.
I nag, bring drama, and want a sugar daddy who fixes things. Wanna go out with me? Ha ha, just kidding. I am not a nag, but I will entertain you. And when I ask you to talk or process something with me, please don't call it drama. I'm the youngest of 7, 4 brothers, 2 sisters, raised in Southern California. Soy un media mexicana, and a quarter Irish and a quarter Czech. My son is 18, and my dog is 3. Soy la directora artística de una organización internacional de danza. I also teach dance to all ages, from kids to semi-professionals to elders with memory loss. Do you want to see my resume? I'll teach you contact improvisation. It's fun, like a moving jungle gym. Let's be sad that we can't have kids at my age and talk about adoption after we realize we've waited our whole lives to find each other, because it was really shitty raising my son as a single mom. Really hard. But you would be the perfect co-parent. What would it be like to raise a child without divorce, like my parents did? By the way, totally unrelated, but you should probably know that the last person I was with ended up having mental health issues, and it did not end well. But I got a restraining order, so don't fuck with me. Don't worry, it's all over now. I've moved on. I only cry about it every other day. I meditate sometimes, still go to mass with my parents, and occasionally up here in the Bay. I've done a lot of earth-based ceremonies and sacred sweat lodges too. Ancestral healing is important to me. I also dabble in astrology, but it's okay if you don't. I'm used to navigating difference. Open-mindedness and curiosity are key. Therapy positive people only. No atheists, please. Queers are fine and probably preferred as long as you're monogamous. I'm technically bisexual, but lately I've been taking a survivalist approach. Like, can you carry me to safety in the apocalypse? Or do you have a house that we can live in? Or will you hold my hand when I am old and sick and dying on my deathbed? Unless you die first, in which case I would do the same for you. No regular pot users, please. I've had enough. It's not good for ADD people anyway, especially because of the short-term memory loss. Be well, future husband or wife, if that's what spirit brings. I love you. I have always yearned for love, but I've learned to dance the yearning. Over the wreckage of a broken home, I've learned to notice that the life within my body is nothing short of a haiku miracle each time I shower in the morning. Even though I still can't get the mold out of the cracks of the tiles. Distracted again. My thoughts come out in short sentences, 7 or 5 syllables, and I've learned to commit to the plan, even if I'm sick or tired or stuck on my back, out of money or out of gas, I'll walk. My right foot empties out the trash in circular motion as my spine slowly ripples around the flowers. An atlas in the back of my head, an aching breasted heart, wet, cramping, undulating larva, loosening soil, spilling afterbirth, soaking towels placed by a midwife who was there one time. No one gave me a baby shower, but baby, when you were born, I learned to take basic care of myself. 3 meals a day, a snack every 2 hours, 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Still, I am a mother in the sun, yearning for what I know it could be like to be closer to myself. I am following what light there is left and feeling the rawness of remembering. Still, I am a mother with a son, pushing into a painful rebirth and release of you. A release of all of them too, the loves, unrequited life plans, my son. I had so much more to give you. Listen to me. It is all still here for you when you need it. Oh, my heart of my mother. Oh, my heart of my mother. Oh, my heart of my different forms. Do not stand up as a witness against me. Do not be opposed to me in tribunal. Do not be hostile to me in the presence of the keeper of the balance. For you are my ka, which was in my body, the protector who made my members hail. Go forth to the happy place, whereto we speed. Do not make my name speak to the entourage who make men. Do
Do not tell lies about me in the presence of the god. It is indeed well that you should hear.
Thank you all for coming.